Hey, some of you have asked me what I thought of Kyle Shanahan firing Steve Wilks, and I'll say publicly what I've said privately. I thought Kyle needed to evaluate what he did before anything else, because Steve Wilks is a person who arguably saved the 49ers season with a number of timely calls. Some of you might point to one call that you know about over an 18-game season. But the bottom line is that's one call. Steve saved the 49ers when Brock Purdy was throwing too many interceptions per game, when it seemed like the 49ers offense was literally stuck in the mud, which it had been for a good portion of the season. And Steve arguably set the 49ers offense up a number of times to score, to win games that, had he not taken an approach like an aggressive blitz in a timely fashion, the 49ers would have lost that contest. And so you have to say, why really would Kyle do that? Because the 49ers have this habit, born of Jed, of thinking, hey, look, we lost, therefore someone has got to go, or someone has to take the blame, and someone has to be the fall person. And for about 4 years, every year, Jed was letting go of head coaches in search of someone who was, in his mind, the right fit, and he found that in the combination of General Manager John Lynch and head coach Kyle Shanahan. But that combination has not produced a Super Bowl champion. It has produced an organization that, for a very specific reason, can't win the big one. And what Kyle did with respect to Steve and firing him covers up the fact that Kyle, when he gets into the Super Bowl, has the tendency to make very emotional decisions on offense that all too often get his team in trouble. And you can see on his face the look of sadness and concern when something doesn't work quite like he thought it would. It's almost as if they didn't think out the negative scenarios in planning for the contest, and then ask themselves the question, how are we going to deal with that negative scenario? Like what happens if we throw on 4th down and it doesn't work? Or you get the idea. Or should we? Or, so this is really on Kyle. But rather than take the blame and say, hey, look, it's all on me, which he did not do. He didn't say, look, this loss is on me. He pointed fingers by action, by firing. And he's not going to be a winner if he keeps up this practice. Pure and simple. So there you go, and I'll have more about this to say later. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark Zenny62blog.com.